Here's something most people get completely wrong about gun ranges. The shooting is not where the money is. The lanes, the actual thing customers come for, are often one of the least profitable parts of the whole operation. The real money hides in the retail counter, the ammo shelf, the training room, and a monthly membership most owners will tell you is the single most important number in the building. And yet, an indoor gun range is one of the most expensive small businesses in America to build. The ventilation system alone, just the air handling, can cost more than an entire fast food kitchen. Before you sell a single box of ammo, you can be $2, $3, even $4 million deep into concrete, steel, and airflow. So, is a gun range a permit and liability nightmare that swallows millions? Or a diversified, recession-resistant business with recurring revenue that most people never think to look at? By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what it costs to build one, the surprising ways it actually makes money, what the owner takes home, and whether it beats simply investing the money instead. Let's break down the real economics of owning a gun range. Let's kill the fantasy first. People picture owning a gun range as standing behind a counter looking cool, while cash rolls in. The reality is that a modern commercial range is really 3 businesses stacked on top of each other, and it is one of the most heavily regulated retail operations you can run. Business 1, the range itself, renting lanes and time to shooters. Business 2, retail, selling firearms, ammunition, accessories, and apparel. Most successful ranges are really gun stores with a range attached, not the other way around. Business 3, training and services, safety classes, concealed carry courses, private instruction, gunsmithing. There are 2 physical models. An outdoor range is far cheaper to build, but needs a lot of land, faces weather and noise limits, and struggles with zoning near towns. An indoor range is climate-controlled, open year-round, and located where the customers are. But it is dramatically more expensive to build because of one thing: air. We'll focus mostly on the indoor commercial range with a retail store, because that's the model that actually scales. And before any of it, this is a federally licensed business. To sell firearms, you need a federal firearms license from the ATF, plus state and local compliance. This is not a casual business. Compliance is the business. This is where the numbers get serious. An indoor range is a specialized construction project, not a normal retail build. Let's go line by line. Real estate. Buy or lease a building with the right zoning, ceiling height, and structure. Zoning is often the single hardest part. Many communities resist ranges, so eligible parcels are limited and can be pricey. Budget widely, a few $100,000 to over $2 million to buy, or a serious monthly lease. The ventilation system. This is the number that shocks everyone. An indoor range must constantly pull air downrange and filter out lead particulate and combustion gases to meet OSHA and EPA standards. A proper HVAC and filtration system commonly runs $100,000 to $500,000. And it is not optional. Cutting corners here poisons your staff and gets you shut down. Ballistic construction, bullet traps or steel backstops, ballistic baffles across the ceiling, armored sidewalls, and acoustic treatment so it isn't deafening. Bullet traps alone can run tens of thousands of dollars per lane. For a multi-lane range, this section easily reaches several $100,000. Lane equipment, target retrieval systems, lighting, shooting stalls, dividers. Figure roughly $15,000 to $30,000 per lane installed. Retail build-out and security. Display cases, a vault, or secure storage for firearms, safes, cameras, alarm systems, and a compliant point of sale that tracks every transaction. $20,000 to $100,000 or more. Opening inventory? Here's a hidden monster. A gun store carries a lot of expensive inventory. Firearms and ammunition tie up serious cash. Initial inventory commonly runs $100,000 to $500,000, and it sits on your shelves until it sells. Licensing, legal, and permits. The FFL itself is cheap, but the surrounding legal, environmental, zoning, and engineering work is not. $10,000 to $50,000 and expect a long approval timeline. Add it up. A ground-up commercial indoor range with retail commonly lands between $1.5 million and $4 or $5 million all in. An outdoor range or a smaller operation can be far less. But the indoor plus retail model is where the real revenue lives. Now it has to run every month. Here's what keeps the doors open before you earn a dollar. Labor. Ranges are staff-heavy for safety. You need range safety officers on the floor at all times, retail staff, instructors, and a compliance-minded manager. Annual payroll commonly runs $200,000 to $500,000, depending on size and hours. Utilities. That giant ventilation system is a power hog, and it runs constantly. Electricity is a major recurring bill, often a bigger line than owners expect. Inventory replenishment. Every gun and every box of ammo you sell has to be repurchased, usually at a thin markup on firearms. Your cash is constantly cycling through inventory. Insurance. This is a big one. Liability insurance for a business where people fire live weapons is expensive and specialized. Budget accordingly. It's one of the largest fixed costs. Maintenance and lead management. Bullet traps fill up and must be serviced. Spent lead is hazardous waste and must be professionally removed and disposed of on a schedule. A real, recurring, non-negotiable cost. Filters get replaced. Downrange equipment takes a beating, then the usual. Rent or mortgage, marketing, software, compliance and legal upkeep, and continuing ATF record keeping. On a financed multi-million-dollar bill, debt service can be the single largest monthly line. All in, a busy indoor range's operating costs commonly run several $100,000 to over $1 million a year before debt, depending on size. Now the interesting part, and the whole reason this business works. A gun range makes money from many streams, and the smart owner leans on the profitable ones. Lane rental. Shooters pay roughly $15 to $25 per lane, per hour, or per session. Steady, but by itself, it barely covers the cost of running the building. Memberships, here's the magic word again. For roughly $20 to $60 a month, or a few hundred to over $1,000 a year, members get unlimited or discounted range time and perks. Just like a car wash or a gym, this is recurring, predictable revenue that shows up whether it rains, snows, or the news cycle is quiet. A strong membership base is what turns a range from volatile to stable. Firearms sales, big revenue but thin margins, often only 10 to 20% on the gun itself. Guns bring people in, they aren't where you get rich. Ammunition, better margins than guns, and huge volume, because you sell it every single time someone shoots. Many ranges require customers to use house ammo on the lanes, a smart built-in revenue stream. Gun rentals, renting firearms to try before buying. $10 to $25 per gun. High margin on equipment you already own. Training and classes. This is often the highest margin part of the whole business. Concealed carry permit courses, beginner safety classes, private lessons, $75 to $200 per person, with low cost to deliver. A packed classroom can out-earn the entire range floor for the day. Accessories, apparel, gunsmithing, eye and ear rental. Small individually, high margin, and they add up. Put it together, and a solid indoor range with a good retail and training operation commonly does $500,000 to $3 million in annual revenue, depending on lanes, location, and how hard the owner pushes memberships and training. So what does the owner actually keep? This business has a split personality. Firearms sales are low margin, but memberships, ammo, training, rentals, and accessories are high margin. The owners who thrive are the ones who treat the gun counter as customer acquisition and make their profit on everything around it. Blended operating margins for a well-run range commonly land somewhere in the 15 to 30% range. Lower than a car wash because of the heavy staffing, insurance, and inventory, but supported by those recurring memberships and fat training margins. Let's make it concrete. Take a range doing $1.5 million in revenue at a 20% operating margin. That's about $300,000 of operating profit. Subtract debt service on the build and taxes, and a realistic owner take home on a healthy, well-located range might land somewhere between $100,000 and $400,000 a year. A weak location, thin memberships, or an undermanaged retail counter can push that to near zero or negative. And now the comparison this channel always makes. Say you sink $2 million into building this range. That same $2 million in a boring, diversified index portfolio at 8% would earn about $160,000 a year, while you never once dispose of hazardous lead waste or renew a specialized insurance policy. So the range only wins if it clearly beats that passive number after paying you for your time, your risk, and a genuinely heavy compliance burden. A great range does, and hands you a real sellable business at the end. A mediocre one does not. Now the honest part. This business carries risks most others don't. Zoning and permitting. This is often the deal killer. Communities frequently resist ranges. Approvals can take a year or more, and a no from the local board can end the project before it starts. You must lock down zoning before you spend real money. Regulatory and compliance risk. You are federally licensed and audited. A TF record-keeping must be flawless. Paperwork errors can cost you your license and your business. Add OSHA for lead exposure and EPA for waste, and compliance is a permanent, serious job, not an afterthought. Environmental liability. Lead is hazardous. Poor ventilation or sloppy cleanup creates genuine health liability for staff and customers and expensive remediation. This is not a corner you can cut. Capital and inventory risk. It's a multi-million-dollar build, usually with a personal guarantee, plus a large amount of cash frozen in inventory. Underperform and you don't walk away at zero, you walk away owing. Insurance and safety. One serious incident is catastrophic. For people first and for the business second. Safety culture isn't optional, it's the entire foundation. Political and market risk. Firearm-related demand and regulation shift with the political climate, which can swing your inventory value and sales. Who should not do this? Anyone undercapitalized, anyone in a restrictive zoning area, and anyone who isn't obsessive about compliance and safety. This is a business for detail-oriented, rule-following operators, not casual hobbyists. Is owning a gun range worth it? Here's the honest verdict. A well-located indoor range with a strong retail counter, a real training program, and an aggressive membership model can be a genuinely good, diversified, recession-resistant business with recurring revenue and a valuable asset at the end. The owners who win understand that the range floor is the hook, and the profit lives in ammo, memberships, and training. But it is one of the most capital-heavy, most regulated, most liability-exposed businesses a normal person can own. The zoning is brutal, the compliance never sleeps, and the lead, the insurance, and the inventory are real, permanent burdens. Underestimate any of them, and the multi-million-dollar build becomes a very expensive, very stressful lesson. The math only works when several things line up. Workable zoning, obsessive compliance, a diversified revenue mix, and an owner who treats safety and record-keeping as the core of the business, not a chore. So here's my question for you. If you had the capital, would you take on the permits, the lead, and the liability to build a range, or put that same money in the market and never file an ATF form in your life? Tell me in the comments which one is actually you. If this breakdown was worth your time, subscribe. Every week, we tear apart the real economics of a different business, the numbers nobody puts in the brochure, and drop the business you want me to break down next in the comments.